Now we're going to talk to the Director of Financial Aid, Mr. Terry Bland. Financial aid, the topics that we can discuss there, but we've got a few we're going to touch on today. And financial aid is something that's always very important to families to be able to continue that education. But Terry, before we get started, let's just introduce yourself, how long you've been at ICC, how long you've been part of the financial aid department, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Like you said, my name is Terry Bland. I'm the Director of Financial Aid. I've been at ICC this time since 2015. I worked here before previously in 2011 and then went over to Northwest Community College, but came back.
You wised up.
Wised up and came home. I came home. That's the way I look at it.
I got you. All right, so financial aid, FAFSA, state aid,
right.
MTAG,
right?
Everything involved. We've been talking to PTK, and we talk about how vast and how just expansive it is.
Right.
Financial aid is the same way.
Right.
And you guys, some dates have been changed that could help really ease the pain and anxiety that goes with filling out financial aids. Let's start talking about FAFSA.
Right. The FAFSA changed a couple of years ago to used to you had to wait until January the 1st, and you started filing taxes in order for you to fill out the FAFSA. Now the government has moved that back to October 1st, and they moved the taxes that are required back 2 years.
Okay.
So you should have everything that you need to start filing the FAFSA for next fall now.
Okay.
It will open October 1st at FAFSA.gov, and the FAFSA is the main application that's required for all financial aid. So whether it's state aid or county aid or any other type of aid, you have to file your FAFSA first in order to know what you're going to qualify for under any of those realms.
Right. It's kind of like building blocks.
Right.
You got to have that firm central foundation, and FAFSA is it. So
right. FAFSA first.
Before you can go to step B, you got to go step A, and FAFSA is step A. Now, a lot of people hear FAFSA, and as we talked about a while ago, just hit the stress button to start with.
Right.
Now, this October the 1st date, it's going to help with that a little bit. So if people can go ahead, now it doesn't mean you have to October the 1st.
Right.
But that's just when it opens.
Right. It opens October the 1st.
So, but if you get a jump on that will help, because there's a lot of backlogs in what you guys do.
Right.
Talk about that.
Traditionally, everybody waits until July or August, and then they roll in here and they're trying to get everything done within a 2-week period, and that's not possible.
Right.
We work all summer long in the financial aid office, and the majority of the summer we're answering phones and answering questions about FAFSA. But it never fails. We always have those people who are traditionally procrastinators that wait until the week before school starts and think they can get the entire FAFSA process done. What we really want to stress is that it opens October 1, and you can start that application process now. And it is just that. It's an application. There are other things that go along with it before we know officially what you're eligible for. So if you're selected for verification and have to turn in paperwork, or there could be any number of file errors that happen between our system and the Department of Education. So I mean, it can get very complicated. So you want to start as early as possible so that when you're done in May, your summer is free and clear and you don't have to worry about FAFSA.
Yeah, and that's something too that a lot of people may not be thinking about in this situation. It does take a lot, and there's a lot of I's to dot, T's to cross.
Exactly.
And there could be easily frustrations with the financial aid department. But a lot of times it's not you guys. It's just the simple fact that it's due process.
Right.
So by getting a jump on this, because not only is it FAFSA, but it's also state aid that you can start applying for now.
Exactly. The state aid application also opens October 1. They moved it to coincide with the FAFSA.
Real quick before we continue, give those two sites where people can go to those.
FAFSA can be applied for at FAFSA.gov, and that's free application for federal student aid if you Google it. If you get to any site where it's asking you to pay, that's the wrong site. Go back to FAFSA.gov, FAFSA.gov. As far as the state aid application, once you finish the FAFSA, there will be a link on the confirmation page that will pull that information you keyed into your FAFSA over into your state aid application. So, and then if you're going straight to the website, it's msfinancialaid.org.
All right, so key things to know there. Of course, you can visit iccms.edu for more information on that as
Correct.
well. Now, these are annual applications.
They are.
So you've got to do it each year.
Every year.
Now that they're open in October, once you file it in October and man, this is so easy. I don't have to worry about it because everybody else is procrastinating. I'm not. You can mark it on your calendar and know to do it again the next year.
Right.
All right. Well, talking about that, there's also unique things you're going to do with FAFSA as well, going into the high schools for what you're going to call FAFSA completion days.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Every year we participate, or we have partnered with Get to College out of the Woodward Hines Educational Foundation to hold FAFSA completion days in our local high schools. So we actually partner with the high school guidance counselor and go out and set up a day where we are filling out FAFSAs with the students and parents in the high school. It makes it easier to get with us going to the parents instead of them having to come to the financial aid office.
Right.
We can do that as well, but all of October and November we will be in the local high schools.
All right. And what do they need to have? What do they need to be thinking about when they come to these events?
Right. Main thing is the parent and the student, if they're both attending the event, bring your 2018 tax information with you, which includes W-2s and your 1040s, and the rest of the information you should know. It'll be your social security numbers, driver's license numbers, those types of things. So most of it will be stuff you have with you every day.
Okay, and that's for not just these events, but anytime you want to do financial aid,
Right.
Those are the type of information you need to have handy to help make that process easier.
Correct.
All right, so again, they can check with their counselors on these dates.
Right. Check with your high school guidance counselor at your school and ask when ICC is coming to help with filing FAFSAs for the high school complete or for the FAFSA completion day.
And this is important because this is something unique and really helps out these families. So just why is ICC doing this?
Well, it was a statewide initiative.
Okay.
So the state of Mississippi has put out an initiative that Get to College really championed, and then we were one of the first community colleges to partner with Get to College on it. So the FAFSA is such a complicated process, and most people are just like look at it as a hurdle or an obstacle.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to remove those obstacles and get students the funding that they need to get to college.
Right. Now, I'll speak on personal terms with this because I'm getting back into school myself. And I'm not going to mention the school I'm going through, but it is online. But that's a headache, man.
It is.
Because I'm having to apply for student loans, and other things that they have, but I don't have anybody helping me.
Right.
So I may be over there with y'all here pretty soon.
come see
But no, but just knowing that somebody is there to help when you have a question.
Right.
That has to give parents, students a great peace of mind.
Well, there are so many scenarios that just sitting down at the FAFSA, you may not know, based on your specific situation, exactly what to mark in the FAFSA. And, if you mark the wrong thing, that could cause delays and create a whole bunch of other paperwork that you have to submit. So it does make it easier if you have somebody we look at it every day. So we know, if you tell me your situation, I can tell you how to file the FAFSA.
Awesome. I'll be in touch soon then probably. Okay, so you talk about looking at it every day.
Right.
You have a lot of great people that work in the financial aid department. Because I'm going to say this, not only are they great people, but you have to have a lot of patience.
You do.
Because it's nothing against anybody,
Right.
but it could be very frustrating for parents, students, guardians, anybody coming in that when you just can't figure out or you just don't understand why this is not working,
Right.
a lot of times they take those frustrations out on the other person on the other side of the line. So let's just talk about the individuals in your department who work in this and just, they're a lot better than I am because I couldn't deal with those situations.
Right. Well, I have Candace Thomas, who is my associate director, who works out of the Fulton office. Mandy Moore, who also is out of Fulton, and Nita Spencer out of the Fulton office. And they handle various aspects of the processing at Fulton. Candace mainly handles scholarships and county aid. Mandy deals a lot with VA and state aid. And then Nita pretty much is our jack of all trades.
Yeah.
She sees just about everybody that comes into the office.
She gets calls from me often, just because of my work studies or people
Right.
that come ask me questions.
Right.
I know Nita's my go-to. So
Right. And if she doesn't know the answer, she will find one of us
yes,
who do.
yes, she's always been great.
Then in our Tupelo office, we have Tony Lee, who is my data tech guy, and he handles a lot of the FAFSA completion days for me. And then we have Nemma Bailey, who does verification, and Myra Bowens, who is our front-end person or frontline person at Tupelo.
And Myra, that's my girl.
Yeah.
When she moved to Tupelo, it was a sad day for me because
Right.
she kept me in line.
Right.
So if you next time you talk to Myra, tell her
I will do it.
I'm still good over here in Fulton, even though I'm without her now. So all right. So if somebody wants to go to the campus, they're available here and in Tupelo, or how does that work?
Yes, we have an office at Tupelo and Fulton. We both handle the same cases or the same student files. So you really can just go to whatever, if you're on the Tupelo campus and need to talk to financial aid, you can go to that office.
Okay. Where is that office?
It's in the Student Services building on the Tupelo campus. And then we're also in Student Services on the Fulton campus.
Okay. And of course, if you can't find it, somebody on those campuses will be more than happy to
Just
direct
ask.
you there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, this is a question I always ask, and people hear this and they're like, "Oh, here we go."
Right.
But no. This is a question I always ask because ICC is a very special place, special to me as a former student, now employee. I know special to you as well. What does ICC mean to you?
Well, it's like I said earlier, ICC to me is home. I went to ICC as a student, fresh out of high school. I went to Nettleton High School and Moorville High School, and ICC was just the next step for me. There was no thought that I would go anywhere but ICC. So I can walk down any of these streets and remember when I was a student at ICC and classes that I had in some of the buildings here, and it's home.
And again, this is my favorite part of the show or each interview because everybody has a different and unique answer, but it all comes back to that family, that home, that great feeling of comfort when you are part of the ICC family. So,
Absolutely.
Well, Terry, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know your time is very valuable when you're out of the office, so I do appreciate you taking time out of that again. Those websites, FAFSA.gov, and the other one was msfinancialaid.org.
Correct.
And then, of course, if you have any questions, you can go to iccms.edu for more information there on financial aid. But we do, again, encourage you, start getting your stuff ready. October the 1st, which will be here before we know it, is when you can start applying for those.
Absolutely.